Welcome back to True Crime Documentary YouTube channel. In the winter of 2014, the quiet town of Meadowbrook, Ontario, was rocked by a tragedy that no one could have predicted. The body of 18-year-old Emily Lawrence was discovered in the living room of a suburban home in the heart of the town. The investigation that followed uncovered a complex web of deceit, jealousy, and betrayal, ultimately culminating in an unspeakable act of violence. Emily had always been a picture of confidence and beauty. A talented high school cheerleader with striking looks, she was the kind of girl who commanded attention wherever she went. But behind her radiant smile, there was a girl who had suffered from deep emotional scars. Emily had grown up in a broken home, with parents who were emotionally distant, more consumed by their own conflicts than by the needs of their daughter. Her father had abandoned the family when she was just a child, leaving Emily with her mother, who struggled with alcoholism. Despite being popular at school, Emily's need for attention and validation became insatiable. She longed for a stable, loving relationship, something she had never experienced at home. That's when she crossed paths with the man who would become her obsession, Coach Andrew Ford. Coach Ford, or Andy, as his players called him, was the charismatic new basketball coach at Meadowbrook High School. At just 29 years old, his charm and natural leadership made him a hit with both the students and faculty. Andy wasn't just a coach, he was a mentor, a friend, and a role model to the young athletes under his care. His personal life seemed just as perfect as his professional one. He had married his college sweetheart, Sarah, a kindergarten teacher, just a few years earlier. The couple had recently purchased a modest home on the edge of Meadowbrook, where they dreamed of starting a family and building a future together. For Andy, life was busy but fulfilling. His role as a coach was demanding, and his commitment to his players took up most of his time. He found solace in Sarah, who supported him in every way possible, from attending his games to taking care of their home. Sarah, warm-hearted and always cheerful, loved children and dreamed of being a mother. She spent her days teaching kindergarten and her nights preparing their home for a family of their own. They were the picture of happiness, a young couple building a life filled with hope. Meanwhile, Emily Lawrence's world was anything but hopeful. Her emotional instability was matched only by her hunger for attention, and it didn't take long for her to become fixated on Andy. It started as a harmless crush. Emily was drawn to the way he commanded the basketball court, the way he led his players with such confidence and care. But for Emily, it quickly became more than just admiration. She saw in Andy the kind of man who could give her the stability and love she desperately craved. It began innocently enough. In the fall of 2012, after a cheerleading practice, Emily began to linger in the gym, watching the basketball team practice. At first, Andy didn't think much of it. He assumed she was simply a fan of the game, enjoying the athleticism and competition. But soon, Emily began finding excuses to talk to him. She would approach him after practice, asking for advice on her cheer routines or commenting on his coaching skills. Andy, though married and committed to his wife, found himself flattered by the attention. Emily's admiration was genuine, and he couldn't help but feel appreciated. It was a validation he didn't realize he needed. He had always been a caring and compassionate person, often going out of his way to help those around him, and Emily's troubled home life only deepened his desire to mentor her. By November 2012, their interactions had become more frequent and their conversations more personal. Emily confided in Andy about her struggles at home, her broken family, her lack of love and support. Andy, being the compassionate man that he was, listened attentively. He offered advice, always careful to keep their relationship professional. But Emily's need for attention grew stronger, and she began testing boundaries, lingering longer after practice, dressing more provocatively, and sending texts outside of school hours. In late December 2012, During a post-game celebration, the tension between Emily and Andy reached its peak. Alone in the gym, away from prying eyes, Emily took the opportunity to make her move. She stepped closer to Andy, her presence electrifying. Their first kiss was unexpected, but inevitable. It was a mix of desire, guilt, and something deeper, something Andy wasn't ready to confront. He knew it was wrong, but the connection he felt with Emily was undeniable. Their secret affair began shortly after that night. They met late at night in empty classrooms, in the gym, and under the bleachers when no one was around. Emily played the part of the innocent cheerleader during the day, while their hidden relationship consumed both of them. For Emily, it was an escape, a way to feel loved and desired. For Andy, it was a betrayal he could not bring himself to end. As the months went by, Emily's obsession grew. She became increasingly possessive, texting Andy at all hours of the day and night, demanding his attention. Her jealousy flared when she noticed Andy spending time with his wife, Sarah. The sight of them together, Sarah glowing with happiness and Andy proudly by her side, sent Emily into a spiral of rage and despair. She couldn't stand the thought of losing him, of sharing him with another woman. In August 2013, things took a dark turn. At a basketball game, Emily witnessed Andy and Sarah sharing a tender moment, celebrating Sarah's pregnancy. Emily, who had risked everything for Andy's love, saw the pregnancy as a symbol of betrayal. The life they could have had together was slipping away, and Emily could not bear it. By September, her desperation was palpable. She began showing up at Andy's house uninvited, trying to find any way to sabotage his marriage. She convinced herself that if she could just get rid of Sarah, Andy would be hers forever. On one fateful evening, Emily decided to take drastic action. One afternoon, after Nathan had left for an out-of-town game, Emily drove to his home, determined to confront Sarah. She claimed she had left a jacket in Nathan's car and needed to speak to him about something. Sarah, always polite, invited her inside. As they spoke, Emily noticed a cup of tea Sarah had left on the counter. In a split second, an idea formed in her mind. She had been planning this for weeks. Emily had purchased a vial of poison from a dark corner of the internet, and now she had the opportunity to use it. As Sarah turned away to get her a glass of water, Emily slipped the poison into Sarah's tea. She didn't plan to kill her, not yet. She simply wanted to scare her, to make her leave Nathan. But deep down, Emily's desperation grew. Her jealousy and anger began to cloud her judgment. That night, after drinking the tainted tea, Sarah became violently ill. Nathan rushed her to the hospital, where doctors worked quickly to save her, but the damage was done. The miscarriage was a devastating blow for the couple, and Nathan's grief quickly turned to suspicion. Emily had been there earlier, and the timing of Sarah's illness was too coincidental to ignore. By January 2014, Emily's obsession had reached a boiling point. Her once friendly demeanor had turned erratic, her jealousy uncontrollable. She saw Nathan's refusal to leave Sarah as a personal betrayal, and she became convinced that if she couldn't have him, no one would. On January 15, 2014, Emily put her final devastating plan into action. Armed with a handgun, she broke into the Ellis home while Nathan was away. When Sarah arrived home, Emily confronted her. The confrontation quickly escalated, with Emily accusing Sarah of ruining her life. As Sarah tried to defend herself, Emily's rage boiled over, and she pulled the trigger. The police arrived shortly thereafter, but it was too late. Emily, in a panic, began firing wildly, hitting one of the officers, who would later die from his injuries. The standoff that followed lasted for several hours, ending with Emily being shot by police as they stormed the house. The community of Meadowbrook was left reeling from the tragedy. News of the affair and Emily's obsession with Coach Ford spread quickly, shattering his reputation. Sarah, though physically unharmed, was emotionally destroyed by the events that had unfolded. She filed for divorce, unable to cope with the betrayal. As for Emily, her story became a chilling reminder of how unchecked obsession and emotional instability could spiral into tragedy. The once promising lives of Coach Andrew Ford, Sarah, and Emily Lawrence were left in ruins. A once thriving relationship was destroyed, a family shattered, and a community forever scarred by the events of January 15th, 2014. The echoes of that night would reverberate for years to come, reminding everyone of the dangers lurking beneath the surface of seemingly innocent relationships. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Be sure to check out our other videos for more captivating stories. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.